The Galactic Council chamber was abuzz with whispers. Representatives of countless species filled the towering, crystalline hall, their voices a symphony of alien tongues and subsonic rumbles. Today was not like any other. Something unprecedented had occurred. A small hologram flickered into view above the central dais, displaying a pale blue planet with swirling white clouds. Earth. This is the species in question, droned a towering, insectoid being from the podium. Its voice clicked and reverberated through the chamber as it addressed the gathered delegates. Humans, designation 104C, sublevel species. Unremarkable, primitive, and yet it paused, letting the tension grow. The counselors leaned in, eyes glowing, tentacles twitching, ears flicking, all awaiting the revelation. They have disrupted our galaxy's status quo. The chamber erupted into cacophony. Questions flew from every corner. How is that possible? They lack interstellar technology. Their star system is isolated. The insectoid raised a clawed limb, silencing the uproar. Their planet was mistakenly added to the Protectorate system millennia ago, shielded from interference and monitored for development. Yet now, they have achieved something extraordinary. They have discovered the conduit. Gasps and murmurs rippled through the hall. The conduit was ancient, a series of hyperspace routes that connected the galaxy's farthest reaches. Only the most advanced civilizations could detect or utilize its pathways. Unseen in the chamber, a figure watched from the shadows, an enigmatic smile playing on their lips. For them, this day had been a long time coming. Halfway across the galaxy, the humans were celebrating. The cramped yet bustling control room of the SS Pioneer buzzed with excitement. Engineers, scientists, and officers scrambled around the consoles, their faces lit with the bluish glow of holographic displays. Captain Maria Devereaux stood at the center, her uniform crisp, her expression a mixture of pride and disbelief. "Are we sure this is stable?" Maria asked, her voice cutting through the hum of activity. "We've triple-checked, Captain," replied Dr. Patel, the lead astrophysicist, barely able to contain her grin. "The calculations are solid. We've not only discovered a stable conduit pathway, we've established communication across it. This is a first." Maria allowed herself a smile. "Then let's make history. Open the channel." A shimmering field appeared in the center of the room, resolving into the startled image of an alien species, a tall, crystalline being whose face refracted light into rainbows. It was a member of the Rylith Collective, a race known for their disdain of lesser species. "You dare contact us?" the Rylith delegate sneered, their tone sharp enough to cut steel. Maria stepped forward, her gaze unwavering. "Not only dare, but succeed. Humanity doesn't need permission to take its place among the stars." The Rylith delegate's translucent face shifted hues, a sign of anger or fear. "You have no understanding of the forces at play. Your kind will be crushed if you overreach." Maria folded her arms. "Funny thing about humans, we don't stop when we're told we can't do something." Back in the Galactic Council, a holographic feed of the interaction played, showcasing humanity's boldness for all to see. The chamber erupted once more, some species impressed, others outraged. "This is a breach of protocol," roared a rotund, amphibian-like delegate. "They've proven themselves resourceful," countered a sleek, feline representative, her emerald eyes gleaming. "Perhaps they should be given a chance to prove their worth." The insectoid speaker slammed a claw against the podium, silencing the debate again. "Enough. We will decide humanity's fate. Convene the High Tribunal. This matter cannot be ignored." Meanwhile, on Earth, news of the breakthrough had ignited a wildfire of hope and determination. From crowded streets to remote villages, humanity felt the stirrings of something they had long yearned for, a united purpose. In the days that followed, Earth's nations pooled their resources, setting aside centuries of division. Factories roared to life, building fleets faster than ever imagined. Scientists worked tirelessly to decode the conduit's mysteries. Humanity was preparing not just for exploration but for defense. For in the depths of space, Not all were pleased by this upstart species. Plans were already in motion to crush the humans before they could become a threat. But humanity had a knack for thriving against impossible odds. This was just the beginning of their unstoppable journey to freedom. The galaxy was not a tranquil place. The arrival of humanity onto the interstellar stage was akin to tossing a stone into a still pond. The ripples were vast, far-reaching, and utterly disruptive. On the industrial world of Lorithar Prime, a planet famous for supplying half the galaxy's advanced weaponry, guild leaders gathered in secret. Their faces flickered in the dim light of a holographic display, showing a feed of the humans' broadcast. Captain Maria Devereaux standing tall, declaring Earth's readiness to stand as equals. Sheer arrogance, spat gaunt, reptilian figure, his claws tapping against the table. They've barely left their cradle world. A cybernetic avian, its feathers laced with neural enhancements, clicked its beak. Arrogance, perhaps. But their actions have disrupted the Protectorate's balance. Their defiance emboldens others. If even one of our factories falls under the sway of their ideals, impossible, interjected a hulking, metallic figure. The Ralthos Forge Wardens spoke with the deep hum of machinery. The Protectorate's strength lies in fear and control. These humans cannot shake that. Can't they? Said a soft voice from the corner. A shadowed figure leaned forward, revealing themselves as a member of the Zorith Alliance, a race of energy beings known for their neutrality. They've accessed the conduit, bypassed centuries of tradition, and dared to challenge the galaxy's greatest powers. That spark cannot be so easily extinguished. The room fell silent as the weight of the words hung heavy in the air. Far above Earth, the SS Pioneer floated like a sentinel. The vessel, the first of its kind, had become a symbol of humanity's determination. Inside, Captain Maria Devereaux paced the bridge, listening as Dr. Patel outlined the latest intelligence. We've detected activity across the conduit network, Patel explained. Multiple factions are mobilizing fleets, likely to contain or eliminate us before we can solidify our position. Surprise, surprise, Maria muttered, leaning on the console. How long before they reach us? Patel hesitated. Weeks, maybe days. The conduit pathways shortened travel times considerably. Maria's jaw tightened. She turned to Commander Lucas Hayes, her second-in-command. What's the status of the global fleet? Lucas glanced at his tablet. Progress is impressive, but our ships are still prototypes compared to what's out there. We're outmatched in firepower and numbers. Maria exhaled slowly, her mind racing. Then we'll need to outthink them. If they want to crush us, we make it as costly as possible. Let's show them what humanity can do under pressure. In a distant sector, the High Tribunal convened on the crystalline world of Silentia. The tribunal chamber, a colossal amphitheater carved from a single shard of quartz, shimmered with energy. Each delegate took their place, towering holographic projections of their true forms surrounding the central dais. A judge of the Protectorate stood at the center, an ancient being encased in flowing armor that glowed faintly with power. Their voice resonated with authority. Humanity's actions have threatened the stability of the galaxy. They have violated Protectorate protocols, disrupted trade, and emboldened rebellion. The question before this tribunal is clear. Should they be annihilated to restore order, or allowed to persist under strict control? The arguments began. A representative of the Scorth Union spoke first, their gelatinous form shifting in agitation. These humans are dangerous. Their unpredictability alone is grounds for their destruction. The feline delegate from the previous council meeting stood. And yet, their resilience is unmatched. The Protectorate would benefit from their ingenuity. This is not a debate about benefits, hissed the amphibian delegate. It is about control. If they will not bend, they must be broken. Back on Earth, humanity was anything but idle. The spirit of collaboration had reached unprecedented heights. Every major city became a hub of innovation and preparation. In a massive hangar in New Zealand, engineers unveiled a prototype battleship, the Horizon's Edge. Its sleek, Angular design was a blend of Earth's latest advancements and reverse-engineered alien tech. Watching from the observation deck, an aging admiral crossed his arms, a rare smile tugging at his lips. "We may be the underdogs," he said, "but we've got heart. And sometimes, that's enough to win a war." Across the Atlantic, in an underground command center beneath Geneva, the United Nations Space Command convened. World leaders and military strategists pored over star maps, discussing tactics to defend their fledgling interstellar presence. "What if diplomacy fails?" one voice asked. "It won't," replied another. "Not entirely. But we're preparing for the alternative. Humanity's future depends on it." Unseen by human eyes, ships from multiple alien factions began to converge on Sol. Some sought to obliterate Earth, while others came to observe, or even assist. Deep within the conduit, an ancient sentinel stirred. Forgotten by most, it had slumbered for millennia, its purpose long since abandoned. But the humans' activity had triggered something, an awakening. The galaxy was on the brink of chaos, and humanity stood at the epicenter. The ripples of their defiance would soon become waves. The conduit shimmered with unearthly hues, its swirling pathways alive with energy. Alien ships moved through its depths, their designs as varied as the species that built them. Some were sleek and elegant, like living works of art. Others bristled with weaponry, their very presence a declaration of war. Among the most menacing was the Valkyris, flagship of the Protectorate's supreme fleet. Its jagged silhouette seemed to drink in the surrounding light, a testament to its purpose, annihilation. Aboard, Supreme Commander Zorak, a massive saurian being encased in golden armor, gazed at the tactical display. "Humanity's defiance must be crushed," Zorak growled, his voice a low rumble. "This insolence has spread unrest across the Outer Rim. If they inspire rebellion, we'll face chaos on every front." The admiral standing beside him, a sinewy creature with luminous scales, nodded. "The fleet will arrive in the Sol system within 6 days. The humans won't stand a chance. Ensure there are no survivors," Zorak ordered. "We will make an example of them." On Earth, humanity worked tirelessly. Factories ran day and night, producing warships, weapons, and advanced defense systems. While the world had united under a common purpose, the strain of the effort was palpable. In a makeshift command room deep within the SS Pioneer, Captain Maria Devereaux reviewed the latest reports. Across from her, Commander Lucas Hayes frowned, his brow furrowed. "We've identified at least 3 incoming fleets," Lucas said, pointing to the holographic map. "Protectorate forces are the largest, but there are also mercenary groups and smaller factions, likely here to scavenge or exploit the chaos." Maria's eyes narrowed. "And the ones coming to help?" "Few and far between," Lucas admitted. "The Zorth Alliance has sent a small fleet, and a handful of independent traders have offered supplies. It's not much." Maria leaned back, her mind racing. "We don't need numbers. We need strategy. If we can turn the conduit into a choke point, we might be able to delay their advance and force them to fight on our terms." Dr. Patel entered, her expression grim. "Captain, I have news. Our engineers have analyzed the conduit's energy signatures. It's possible to destabilize the pathway, but the process would be risky. We'd trap any incoming fleets, ourselves included." Maria nodded slowly. "Keep that as a last resort. For now, let's focus on fortifying the system. Every second counts." In the shadows of the galaxy, rebellion simmered. On the mining moon of Karoth 7, workers gathered in secret to hear the stories of Earth's defiance. A grizzled miner raised his fist, his voice echoing through the cavernous hall. "They said we couldn't fight back," he shouted, "that the Protectorate was invincible. But the humans, those scrappy little upstarts, proved them wrong. If they can stand against the galaxy's might, so can we." The crowd erupted in cheers, their voices a thunderous roar. Across the galaxy, similar scenes played out as oppressed populations found new courage in humanity's example. On the edges of the Sol system, Earth's first line of defense came online. A network of orbital platforms, bristling with railguns and missile turrets, stood ready to repel invaders. The Horizon's Edge, humanity's most advanced warship, took its place at the forefront of the fleet. Admiral Carter, a seasoned veteran with silver hair and a steely gaze, addressed the gathered crews via a broadcast. "Today, we stand as one," Carter declared. "The galaxy sees us as fragile, divided, and weak. But they have underestimated us. This is our home, and we will defend it with everything we have. The odds may be against us, but humanity has faced worse. We are fighters, survivors. And today, we show the galaxy what that means." Cheers erupted across the fleet as Carter's words fueled their determination. Meanwhile, deep within the conduit, something ancient stirred. The Sentinel, an enormous construct built by a long-extinct race, had awakened fully. Its massive form, dormant for millennia, moved with purpose. The conduit's energy rippled as it analyzed the sudden surge of activity within its domain. The Sentinel's intelligence was cold and calculating, its purpose singular: to preserve the conduit's integrity. Humanity's actions, though small, had set off a cascade of events that threatened to destabilize the entire network. The Sentinel began deploying drones, each one a deadly harbinger of its will. Back on Earth, Maria stood on the bridge of the SS Pioneer, watching as the fleet prepared for the battle ahead. Her mind was heavy with the weight of command, but her resolve remained unshaken. "They'll come at us with everything they have," she said softly. Lucas nodded. "And we'll give them everything we've got." The first warning signals flashed on the console. The Protectorate fleet had entered the conduit, their ships moving with terrifying precision. The countdown to battle had begun. Humanity stood at the brink, their fate balanced on a knife's edge. But if there was one thing Maria and her crew knew, it was this: they would not go quietly. The stillness of the Sol system shattered as the Protectorate fleet emerged from the conduit. Wave after wave of warships poured into the system, their designs ominous and efficient, exuding the cold, unyielding power of the galaxy's most dominant force. From her place on the bridge of the SS Pioneer, Captain Maria Devereaux watched the unfolding spectacle with a grim determination. The holographic display projected a real-time view of the enemy's advance, and the sheer scale of it was overwhelming. 78 ships and counting, Commander Lucas Hayes reported. More arriving by the second. Maria's jaw tightened. "Status of the orbital platforms?" "All operational," Lucas replied. "And the Horizon's Edge is ready to engage." Maria's gaze shifted to the tactical map, which highlighted humanity's defensive positions. "They'll try to overwhelm us quickly. Let's make them bleed for every inch." On board the Valkyris, Supreme Commander Zorak issued his commands with ruthless efficiency. "Advance in Formation Beta 7, Zorak growled, his voice carrying the weight of countless victories. "Target their orbital defenses first. Cripple their ability to fight back." The Protectorate fleet moved as one, a precision strike force honed over centuries of conquest. At their head, the Valkyris loomed like a harbinger of destruction. But the humans were ready. As the first wave of Protectorate ships approached, Earth's orbital platforms came alive. Massive railguns fired projectiles at hypersonic speeds, while missile salvos streaked through the void. The initial barrage caught the Protectorate by surprise, obliterating 2 frigates and damaging a cruiser. "They're fighting back harder than expected," the admiral aboard the Valkyris remarked. Zorak's lips curled into a snarl. "It doesn't matter. Press the attack." The Protectorate ships returned fire, their weapons slicing through the darkness. Orbital platforms exploded in fiery bursts, their remains scattering like burning embers. But for every platform destroyed, another struck a decisive blow, forcing the Protectorate to pay for their progress in blood and metal. The Horizon's Edge led Earth's fleet into battle. Its sleek design and advanced weaponry, a testament to humanity's ingenuity, made it a formidable opponent. Admiral Carter stood on the bridge, his voice steady as he directed the fleet's movements. "Keep the formation tight," Carter ordered. "Use the debris fields for cover and concentrate fire on their lead ships." The fleet responded with precision. Earth's ships danced through the chaos, their smaller size and agility allowing them to outmaneuver the Protectorate's lumbering behemoths. Coordinated strikes targeted weak points in enemy hulls, and one by one, Protectorate vessels were reduced to floating wreckage. "Admiral, we've got confirmation of reinforcements en route," a communications officer reported. "The Zorth Alliance fleet will arrive in 30 minutes. Carter allowed himself a small smile. "We just need to hold the line until then." Deep within the conduit, the ancient Sentinels drones began their approach. These sleek, metallic constructs moved with an eerie silence, their advanced technology far surpassing anything in the current galactic era. The Sentinel had deemed both the Protectorate and humanity threats to the conduit's stability, and its judgment was swift. As the first drones emerged into the Sol system, their arrival went unnoticed amidst the chaos of battle. But their presence would soon be felt. Back on Earth, civilians watched the conflict unfold through live feeds. Crowded around screens in city squares and underground shelters, they cheered every victory and gasped at every loss. The entire planet seemed to hold its breath as the fate of humanity hung in the balance. In a dimly lit war room beneath Geneva, world leaders and military strategists monitored the situation. Tensions ran high, but no one dared voice their fears aloud. "We've got reports of another fleet mobilizing," a young officer announced. "Unknown origin." "Unknown," the Secretary General repeated, her voice edged with concern. "Yes, ma'am," the officer confirmed. "Their signature doesn't match anything we've seen before." As the battle raged, the SS Pioneer worked tirelessly to coordinate Earth's defenses. Maria stood at the center of the bridge, her voice calm but firm as she issued orders. "Deploy fighter squadrons to flank their cruisers," she commanded. "We need to keep the pressure on." Dr. Patel entered, her expression grave. "Captain, we detected an anomaly near the conduit exit point." "It's not Protectorate." Maria frowned. "What is it?" "We're not sure," Patel admitted. "But whatever it is, it's heading this way." On the battlefield, the first of the Sentinel's drones struck. A Protectorate destroyer was the initial target, its shields failing under the drone's relentless assault. The ship's crew barely had time to react before it was torn apart. The Protectorate fleet faltered as the drones began targeting ships indiscriminately, their advanced weaponry bypassing conventional defenses. "What is this?" Zorak roared, his claws digging into the armrest of his command chair. "Unknown attackers," the Admiral replied. "We're being hit hard." On board the Horizon's Edge, Admiral Carter observed the sudden shift in the battle with growing unease. "New contacts entering the field," a tactical officer reported. "They're engaging both us and the Protectorate." Carter's eyes narrowed. This just got a lot more complicated. The storm had truly arrived. Between humanity's desperate defense, the Protectorate's relentless assault, and the Sentinel's intervention, the battle for the Sol system had become a chaotic free-for-all. Yet amidst the chaos, humanity stood firm. They were outnumbered, outgunned, and facing impossible odds, but their resolve remained unbroken. This was their home, and they would fight for it until the very last. The battlefield above Earth was a maelstrom of destruction. Orbital platforms fired their last salvos before being obliterated. The wreckage of human and Protectorate ships littered the void, silent witnesses to the ferocity of the conflict. Yet, amidst the chaos, humanity's resolve burned brighter than ever. On the bridge of the Horizon's Edge, Admiral Carter issued orders with unwavering composure. "Adjust trajectory. Use that debris as cover and target their cruisers," he barked, his voice cutting through the cacophony of alarms. A tactical officer turned to him. "Sir, incoming ships from the conduit. It's the Zorth fleet." The holographic display flared with new icons, sleek, translucent ships powered by energy fields that shimmered like sunlight on water. The Zorth Alliance had arrived, and they wasted no time. Their vessels darted into the fray, firing pulses of radiant energy that tore through Protectorate lines. "Thank the stars," Carter muttered, relief flickering across his face. "Send them our thanks and coordinate attacks." On the SS Pioneer, Captain Maria Devereaux watched the display with a mix of hope and caution. "Looks like we're not alone after all," Commander Lucas Hayes said, a hint of a smile breaking his usual stoicism. Maria nodded. "But the Protectorate won't back down just because we've got friends. Keep our defenses tight." Dr. Patel appeared at Maria's side, her expression tense. "Captain, we've got a bigger problem. The unidentified drones are escalating their attacks. They're not just targeting ships, they've started disabling the conduit." Maria's heart sank. "If they collapse the conduit, we'll be trapped in the Sol system, along with any remaining enemy forces. And that's not all," Patel continued. "If the conduit destabilizes completely, the resulting energy discharge could destroy the entire system." Maria's mind raced. "Options? We might be able to override the drone's programming," Patel said. "But we'd need access to one of their command nodes. There's a high chance they're using the central conduit gate as a hub." Maria turned to Lucas. "Prepare a strike team. We'll need to secure that gate." Lucas hesitated. "You're planning to lead the mission yourself, aren't you?" Maria's expression hardened. "This is our fight, Lucas. I'm not sitting it out." As the Protectorate reeled from the combined assault of humanity, the Zorith, and the mysterious drones, Supreme Commander Zorak struggled to maintain control. "Fall back to the secondary line," Zorak roared. "Focus fire on those Zorith ships. They're vulnerable in close quarters." His orders steadied the Protectorate forces, but their losses were mounting. For the first time in centuries, the galaxy's most powerful fleet was on the defensive. "Commander," his admiral said, hesitation in her voice. "Perhaps we should consider retreat." Zorak's claws scraped against the armrest of his throne-like chair. "Retreat? Against humans? I'll die before I let this upstart species humiliate the Protectorate." On the mining moon of Karath 7, a message spread like wildfire. Footage of Earth's defenders standing against the Protectorate inspired hope in the hearts of the oppressed. Across the galaxy, rebellions flared as long-subjugated peoples seized the opportunity to fight for their freedom. One such rebellion unfolded on the planet Arriver, a key Protectorate stronghold. Workers armed with stolen tools and improvised weapons overwhelmed their overseers, capturing vital resources that could turn the tide of the war. "The humans have shown us what's possible," said a young rebel leader in a transmission broadcast across the sector. "We will no longer live in fear. Today, we fight for our future." Meanwhile, Maria's strike team launched from the SS Pioneer in a sleek, stealth-equipped shuttle. Their destination, the central conduit gate, where the Sentinel's drones swarmed like metallic wasps. Inside the shuttle, Maria reviewed the plan with her team. "We're looking for a command node, something that controls the drones. Dr. Patel will guide us remotely, but once we're inside, we're on our own." The team nodded, their faces grim but resolute. Among them was Corporal Vega, a former engineer-turned-soldier, who glanced at Maria. "Captain," Vega said, "do you really think we can pull this off?" Maria met his gaze. "We have to. If we fail, there won't be an Earth left to save." As the shuttle approached the conduit gate, the scale of the structure became clear. It was massive, a colossal ring of alien metal pulsing with energy. The drones swarmed around it, firing at anything that moved. "Evasive maneuvers," the pilot shouted, the shuttle weaving through the chaos. "Prepare for insertion," Maria called out. The team readied their gear as the shuttle docked with the gate's outer surface. Inside the gate, the atmosphere was tense. The corridors were illuminated by an eerie, shifting light, and the hum of alien machinery resonated in the walls. "Patel, we're inside," Maria said, her voice low. "Good," Patel replied through their comms. "Head toward the central chamber. That's where the command node should be." The team moved cautiously, their weapons at the ready. Along the way, they encountered resistance, small drones that attacked with deadly precision. The team fought valiantly, using every bit of their training and ingenuity to push forward. Finally, they reached the central chamber, a cavernous space dominated by a massive, crystalline structure pulsating with energy. "That's it," Patel said. "The command node. If we can interface with it, we might be able to override the drones." Maria and Vega approached the node, but as they did, the air shimmered. A towering, humanoid drone emerged, its form sleek and deadly. "Looks like it doesn't want to share," Vega muttered. Maria raised her weapon. "Then we'll just have to convince it." The fight for the node had begun. Humanity's future hung in the balance. Asterisk. The crystalline command node pulsed with a rhythmic energy, casting the chamber in an ethereal glow. It loomed like a beating heart, vital to the Sentinel's drones. Before it stood the humanoid guardian, its sleek, metallic body radiating menace. "Spread out," Captain Maria Devereaux barked. "Keep it distracted while Vega and I secure the node." The team moved into action, firing at the guardian with concentrated bursts. The air filled with the sharp cracks of railgun rounds and the sizzling hum of energy weapons. The guardian moved with inhuman speed, dodging and counterattacking with blinding precision. One soldier was thrown against the wall by an energy pulse, while another narrowly avoided a slicing blade that extended from the guardian's arm. "Stay on it," Maria shouted as she and Vega sprinted toward the node. Vega pulled out a compact device and began connecting it to the crystalline structure. "Dr. Patel, I'm patching in now. How's the signals?" "Strong." Patel's voice crackled through the comm. "You'll need to override 3 layers of encryption to access the command protocols. I'll guide you through it." "Understood," Vega replied, his hands moving swiftly across the device. Maria kept her weapon trained on the guardian, firing intermittently to draw its attention away from Vega. The creature turned its glowing eyes toward her, then lunged. She barely rolled out of the way, its blade embedding itself in the ground where she had stood moments before. Above Earth, the battle continued to escalate. The arrival of the Zorith Alliance fleet had shifted the tide, but the Protectorate forces still held the advantage in sheer numbers. The combined human and Zorith fleets fought valiantly, using innovative tactics to exploit the weaknesses in the enemy's formations. On the horizon's edge, Admiral Carter watched as another Protectorate cruiser exploded under a barrage of coordinated fire. "Keep pressing the advantage," he ordered. "We need to give Maria's team as much time as possible." "Sir," an officer called out, "the drones are targeting the conduit itself. Their attacks are destabilizing its structure." Carter's gaze darkened. "We can't let that happen. Focus all available firepower on those drones. Protect the conduit at all costs." Back at the command node, the battle raged on. The Guardian was relentless, its movements a blur as it engaged Maria's team. One soldier was knocked unconscious, and another's weapon was torn from their hands. "Vega, how much longer?" Maria demanded, firing a shot that ricocheted harmlessly off the Guardian's armor. "Almost there," Vega shouted, sweat beading on his brow as he worked furiously. "I just need to bypass the final layer." The Guardian turned its attention back to Vega, its movements deliberate and menacing. Maria stepped into its path, raising her weapon. "Not today," she muttered, firing a grenade directly at its torso. The explosion staggered the Guardian, giving Vega the precious seconds he needed. "Got it!" Vega exclaimed as the crystalline structure dimmed momentarily before surging with a new, steady glow. "I've gained access to the command protocols. Can you shut the drones down?" Maria asked, her weapon still trained on the Guardian as it regained its footing. "I can try," Vega replied, his fingers flying over the interface. "But it's complex. They're not just autonomous, they're adaptive. I'll need to rewrite their core directives." In orbit, the drones suddenly paused, their movements halting mid-attack. For a brief moment, the battlefield grew eerily silent. Then, without warning, some of the drones turned on the Protectorate ships, unleashing devastating firepower. Admiral Carter noticed the shift immediately. "What just happened?" "Looks like the drones are splitting their targets," an officer replied. "Some are still attacking the conduit, but others are engaging the Protectorate fleet." Carter's lips pressed into a thin line. "That has to be Maria's team. Let's make sure they finish the job." The Guardian, seemingly aware of the command node's compromise, emitted a high-pitched screech. Its movements grew more erratic and aggressive, as if it were operating on a fail-safe directive. Maria dodged another strike, but this time the blade grazed her armor, leaving a deep gash. She gritted her teeth and fired again, aiming for the joints. "Vega, we're running out of time." "Just a little more," Vega shouted, his voice laced with urgency. The Guardian lunged again, but this time Maria anticipated its movement. She sidestepped and jammed a detonator onto its back. "Eat this," she snarled, diving away as the explosive detonated. The Guardian staggered, its form crackling with energy. Maria seized the moment, emptying her weapon into its exposed core. With a final, shuddering motion, the Guardian collapsed, its glowing eyes dimming. Vega let out a breath of relief. "I've reprogrammed the drones. They'll defend the conduit and target any hostile forces." Maria nodded, exhaustion etched on her face. "Good. Now, let's get out of here before this place falls apart." Across the battlefield, the tide had turned. The reprogrammed drones attacked the Protectorate with ruthless efficiency, cutting through their ranks. The Zorth fleet and Earth's defenders capitalized on the chaos, pushing the enemy into full retreat. On board the Valkyris, Supreme Commander Zorak slammed his fist against the console. "Retreat. All forces retreat. This battle is lost." As the Protectorate ships fled back into the conduit, the remaining drones turned their attention to stabilizing its structure. For now, the threat of collapse had been averted. Maria's shuttle docked with the SS Pioneer, and the crew erupted into cheers as she and her team stepped aboard. Lucas Hayes greeted her with a rare smile. "You did it," he said simply. Maria allowed herself a small smile in return. "We all did. But this isn't over. The galaxy knows we can fight back now, and the Protectorate won't forget this." She turned to the bridge's viewport, where Earth's battered but victorious fleet stood as a testament to humanity's resilience. "This was just the beginning," Maria said softly. "We've changed the galaxy forever." The silence after the battle was deafening. Wreckage from both Protectorate and human ships drifted across the Sol system, a testament to the ferocity of the conflict. Earth had survived, but the cost had been steep. Ships lay in ruins, orbital platforms smoldered, and countless lives had been lost. Yet amidst the devastation, there was hope, a fragile, flickering light that promised a new beginning. On the SS Pioneer, Captain Maria Devereaux stood on the bridge, her face illuminated by the dim glow of the tactical display. The room was subdued, the crew exhausted but alive. Commander Lucas Hayes approached her, his usual stern demeanor softened by relief. "We've confirmed it," Lucas said. "The Protectorate fleet has retreated through the conduit. They won't be coming back anytime soon." Maria nodded, her shoulders sagging with the weight of the moment. "And the drones?" "Under control," Lucas replied. Vega's reprogramming worked. They're stabilizing the conduit and maintaining a defensive perimeter. Maria exhaled slowly. "Good. The last thing we need is another fight." In orbit, Admiral Carter aboard the Horizon's Edge oversaw the aftermath of the battle. The Zorth Alliance fleet remained in formation, their elegant ships providing a stark contrast to the battered human vessels. A communication request came through, and Carter accepted it. The image of Zorth Commander Calvier appeared on his console, her translucent features shimmering like liquid crystal. "Admiral Carter," Calvier said, her tone respectful, "your people fought with honor and ingenuity. It was a privilege to stand beside you." "The feeling is mutual, Commander," Carter replied. "We couldn't have done this without the Zorth. You've earned humanity's gratitude." Calvier inclined her head. "This victory is a turning point, not just for Earth, but for all who have suffered under the Protectorate. Together, we can build a coalition to challenge their tyranny." Carter's gaze hardened. "That's the plan." Today was just the start. Back on Earth, celebrations erupted as news of the victory spread. In cities across the planet, people poured into the streets, cheering and embracing one another. The long-held fear of annihilation had been replaced by an overwhelming sense of unity and purpose. At the Geneva War Room, the Secretary-General addressed the world in a broadcast. Her voice trembled with emotion as she spoke. "Today, humanity has proven that we will not bow to tyranny. We will not surrender our freedom. The Protectorate sought to break us, but instead, they ignited a fire that will never be extinguished. To our allies in the Zorth Alliance, we thank you for standing with us. Together, we will forge a new future, one of hope, resilience, and determination. The speech was broadcast far beyond Earth, reaching the ears of countless beings across the galaxy. On distant worlds, whispers of rebellion grew louder. The Protectorate's once unassailable power now seemed vulnerable, and oppressed civilizations began to dream of liberation. On the SS Pioneer, Maria joined Dr. Patel and Corporal Vega in the ship's briefing room. The crystalline shard from the command node lay on the table between them, its glow faint but steady. This shard is the key to understanding the Sentinel's technology, Patel explained. With it, we can study the drones and the conduit. If we can replicate even a fraction of their capabilities, it could revolutionize everything: travel, communication, defense. Vega crossed his arms. It's also a double-edged sword. If the wrong people get their hands on it. Maria raised a hand to silence him. That's why we keep it secure. We'll use it wisely, but we can't let fear hold us back. This technology could be the edge we need to protect not just Earth, but the entire galaxy. Patel nodded. Agreed. But there's something else. The drone's programming, it mentioned something about a greater threat. A force beyond the Protectorate. Maria frowned. What kind of threat? We don't know, Patel admitted. But the Sentinel systems were designed to guard against it. If this force is real, we might have just scratched the surface of what's out there. Maria's expression hardened. Then we need to prepare. The Protectorate is dangerous, but if something worse is coming, we can't afford to be caught off guard. On the distant Valkyris, Supreme Commander Zorak paced the command deck, his claws clenching and unclenching in frustration. They humiliated us, he growled, his voice a low snarl. This primitive species and their ragtag allies dared to defy the Protectorate. His admiral spoke cautiously. The humans are not to be underestimated. Their ability to adapt and innovate makes them dangerous. If we attack again, we must be prepared for even greater resistance. Zorak's eyes burned with fury. We will not rest until Earth is brought to its knees. But for now, we regroup. Let them savor their victory. They won't enjoy it for long. As Earth's defenders began rebuilding, Maria stood in the observation deck of the SS Pioneer, gazing out at the stars. The conduit shimmered in the distance, a reminder of the vast, untamed galaxy beyond. Lucas joined her, his presence grounding in the quiet moment. We did it, he said simply. Maria nodded, her eyes never leaving the stars.
For now.
But this fight isn't over. We've taken the first step, but the galaxy is a big place, and the Protectorate won't be our last challenge. Lucas smirked. When has humanity ever backed down from a challenge? Maria allowed herself a small smile. Never. The two stood in silence, the stars stretching endlessly before them. Humanity's journey was far from over, but for the first time in history, it was a journey they would face on their own terms. The galaxy would never be the same.